There we go. God bless everyone out there in the internet world and also in the gaming world. This is Embrace Marriage Ministries coming to you live. This is Embracing Marriage Together podcast coming to you live from Embrace Marriage Ministries. And we're here today to share with you and to talk with you and to meet with you and to share with you some things in our lives that we have discovered, and also to bring some different things that we like to we like to share. Nothing else to say. So last time we spoke, we talked about we had a series of 5 things that we were doing. We were talking about what spouses should not do or say to each other, and we went through some fine things that was actually pretty beneficial. They helped. Of course, like I said, every time you do something like this, you're always going to have some kind of kickback from the enemy. But we have determined, because stuff like that used to shut us down, but a lot of times we want to always be in the right frame of mind and in the right spirit when we bring you what we bring you. We don't ever want to come in a bad way or bad personality or whatever. And so, but we also, it gives us time also to find out what exactly can we bring that would actually help. So on that note, we came up with, since we do a lot of different things on personalities, that's what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about personality types, and that will actually help kind of help us understand why do I act the way I act, and why does the person with me act the way they act, and we can see if we can get together and they'll work together. So that's kind of what we decided to come up with. So it's going to be a series of personality types, 16 personality types. We got lessons so far for as you'll see later. I'm going to describe these different groups, and the groups actually it's 4 groups of 4 personalities. And so we're gonna start with the first group, first one actually. And in the first group we'll go from we'll talk about, we'll tell you what they are. And so the 4 groups are, just as our introduction, to kind of give you an idea of what it is. So so the first one is, if you want to they actually give a free test. So if you want to go and take that test, you can go to our website, embracingmarriagetogether.com, and in the post /post, and I put a post up, and I put a link for this website so you can go to it and take the test and see what kind of personality type you are. And and like I said, I don't want to get too heavy because they get really deep into the different kind of things. They go by letters and intuitive and all this other stuff, and but we're gonna just kind of broad stroke it, but we're gonna basically kind of see where each of us fit in this. So that's kind of how we're gonna do it. There's 4 groups, like I said, it's 4 groups of 4. In the first group is called analyst. That composed of the architect, the logician, the commander, and the debater. So the architect is imaginative and strategic thinker with a plan for everything. Then you got your logician, which is an innovative inventor with unquenchable thirst for knowledge. And can't hear me or you. Well, you can hear yourself?
I can now.
Oh.
My thing went on. I had to, have a shortage.
No. Yeah. All right. It's saying bold. The commander is bold, imaginative, and strong-willed leaders, always finding a way or making one. And the debater is the smart and curious thinker who cannot resist an intellectual challenge. And we got company.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't hear everything because ain't nothing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
There's no noise or nothing. So.
I probably won't pick it up. Let's say the diplomats, so the second group, and therefore also, which is composed of the advocate, the mediator, the protagonist, and the campaigner. Advocate, quiet, mystical, and very inspiring, tireless idealist. The mediator is a poetic, kind, and altruistic people, always eager to help a good cause. Protagonist is a charismatic, inspiring leader able to mesmerize their listeners. And a campaigner, enthusiastic, creative, and socially free spirits who can always find a reason to smile. Then there's your sentinels, which is a logician, the defender, the executive, and the console. The logician logistician. That's hard words. And logisticians, practical and fact-minded individuals whose reliability can't be doubted. The defender, very dedicated and loyal, very dedicated and warm protectors, always ready to defend their loved ones. The executive, excellent administrators, unsurpassed at managing things for people. And the console, extraordinary, caring, and social and popular people, always eager to help. Then last but not least, you got your explorers, which consists of your virtuoso, your adventurer, the entrepreneur, and the entertainer. These are your thrill seekers. You're bold and practical experimenters, masters of all kinds of tools. The adventurer is a flexible and charming artist, always ready to explore and experience something new. Entrepreneurs, smart, energetic, and very perceptive people who enjoy living on the edge. And the entertainer, spontaneous, energetic, and enthusiastic people. Life is never boring around them. So that's your four. And it's the 4 groups, 16 personalities. And tonight, we're going to start with the architect. The imaginative, strategic thinkers with a plan for everything. Now, you might know people like this that always they never really never do anything without a plan. So, say an architect, they go by these. They got these different things, these different traits, which is a person with the introverted, intuitive thinking, and judging personality traits. The thoughtful technician loves perfecting. I can't read tonight. Perfecting the details of life, applying creativity and rationality to everything they do. Their inner world is often private, complex one. They can be one of the rarest personality types. They said one of the most capable architects knows this all too well. Rational and quick-witted, the architect may be struggle to find people who keep up with their non-stop analysis of everything around them. Let's say they're bold dreamers and bitterness. Say they're the boldest of dreamers and the bitterest of pessimists. So they from one extreme they could be really bold dreamers, and then on the other extreme they could be really bitter pessimists. So if you get somebody that's really, really pessimistic, and then you got that bold side, and they real bold dreamers, but then they real bold real bitter pessimist, that's your architect type. They believe that through willpower and intelligence, they can achieve even most challenging goals, but they can be cynical around human nature more generally, assuming that most people are lazy, unimaginative, and simply doomed to mediocrity. That's the kind of personality type this person has. Now, they say they also in school, they all with this personality type, they have been called bookworms or nerds. But rather than taking labels as insults, many architects embrace them. They are confident in their ability to teach themselves about and master any topic that interests them, whether that's coding or corporal or classic music. Corporal is like martial arts. And they can be single-minded with little patience for frivolity, distraction, or idle gossip. That said, it would be a mistake to stereotype the personalities as dull or humorous. Many of them are known for their irrelevant wit, and beneath their serious exterior, they often have a sharp, delightful, sarcastic sense of humor. Now, you listening to this, you know people like this. Like I said, I think I looked up, it said like 8%. Well, there wasn't that many in population-wise. It said it was like, how many did they say? It's not that many. They say they're one of the rarest. I think it said, I was reading somewhere else where it said that it was like even more rare in women. It's like 0.8%, 0.08% of population are this way. So these are your people who are your real big thinkers and your real big dreamers. These more people that, and we'll find out what kind of what we're basically going to look at is areas of their romantic relationships. How do they get along with people? That's one of the ones we're going to focus on. Now we're going to focus on their weaknesses and strengths. And then we're going to go in their relationship. And then we're going to talk about, how they can relate to other people. They say rational. Archetypes pride themselves in their mind, for nearly every situation becomes an opportunity to expand knowledge and hone their rational thinking and thinking skills. Thanks to this mindset, they can devise inventive solutions to even the most arduous problems. So they're the problem solvers. These are people that they think their way through stuff. So get out this. And so now, then they say informed. It's their strengths. Informed. Few personality types are voted as they are to form rational and evidence-based opinions. So I'm gonna just read through them. Say they're independent, determined, curious, or versatile. Now their weaknesses: they're arrogant, dismissive of emotion, overly critical, combative, and romantically clueless. Now this is the part I want to read this one. Architects relentlessly relationally can lead them to be frustrated by romance. Especially in the early stages of relationship, they may struggle to understand what's going on and how to behave. If their relationship falls apart for reasons they don't understand, they can become cynical about matters of the heart, even question the importance of love and connection. Because they're mostly mental, they're your anal people. When I mean anal, there's your people that they basically have a certain kind of thought process. They actually think that because they're logical people, because they are, they're just strategists. They are logical people, so they don't understand emotion well. You got some people who they're not big on, especially somebody of that caliber. Like, say for example, you get somebody that's like a professor in microbiology or stuff like stuff real high stuff like all kind of this. They're real smart. And they're real avid readers of all kinds of literature. They basically kind of they pretty much themselves, And if a person of another if a guy, say if it was a woman, in which they're, like I say, it's a rarity, but if the guy comes to approach her, he has to have some intelligence to pique her interest. Because if not, she's not going to get along with anybody else outside of a relationship, and that's what we get into. Let me show you what I mean. They say people with this personality type approach romance the way they do most challenges, strategically, with clear-cut goals and a plan for reaching them. That's your kind that plan their life out. I mean, they basically just say, hey, in 2 to 5 years, I'm gonna go to school, and in about another 5 years, I'll be here, and then another 2, 3, 4 years, I'm gonna get married, and then another 5 years, I'm gonna have kids, and then at 50, between 50 and 60, I'm gonna retire. That's the kind of people. They gotta have a goal to reach.
Yeah.
And so in a relationship, it's about them reaching a certain goal, certain goal mark. Like I said, just reach that mark. If they say in 5 years they're gonna do something, like if they get engaged, they want to be married within that certain time frame. They want to say, okay, on this day I want to be married, and so they set that goal for that time, which in a sense is good to have goals. It's good to say, this is for, to have a plan, like to say the 5-year plan, you heard of that? To have something. They believe in that. They believe, and especially if he's a person that, say for example, especially the fathers want like that. He wants to know what kind of plan you have for my daughter. Where are you going to live? Where are you going to work? What kind of income are you going to be making? How many kids are you going to have? How many years you going to work before you retire? What kind of school are you going to put them in? They need clear-cut goals and a plan for reaching them. So not only do they have a goal, they got to make the plan to reach the goal. So if they plan a wedding, look out. They're going to plan that sucker. They're going to take it over. Because they're not going to have, they're not going to, nobody will be able to do it. They're going to do it themselves because they're going to want it done a certain way. That's your bridezillas right there. They overly critical about whatever you do. So whatever you do is not going to be good enough. They got to do it. So if you got a person in your life that's like that, you usually have somebody that's your opposite. Usually that's one down into at least the third or fourth group. The person who's kind of not mirrors it, but kind of is an atypical type of person. They're not going to be able to do, but they don't attract well to somebody like that. So it says here, anybody outside of that. They say also they had a personality type in a purely rational world. This approach will be foolproof. Alas, it ignores the most pertinent factors that they sometimes dismiss, such as unpredictability of human nature and affection. For these personality types, finding compatible with partner could be a particular challenge. Rarely satisfied with things as they are always developing a world in their minds that is more perfect than reality. There should be people that believes that everything's perfect. They got to have it perfect because that's why they plan it. It has to be perfect. That's why I planned it this way, so it could be perfect. So if my wedding ain't right, then everything. If it's one iota out of, if I don't get those white roses, and if I don't get those white roses, no doves when I throw them out, and if I don't get the right dress, or if I don't get the right suit, or if I don't get the right group of people, it's gonna be messed up.
Yeah, and they more like what you call them, perfectionists.
Yeah, they get into,
have to be this perfect.
Yeah,
and it's hard to. But you know what? When you read a lot of things out of me, it's like a few articles. It's like they divorce rate is so high. Yeah. And because when you're trying to live with a perfect person, and especially if you have one that's a perfectionist, that's a neat freak.
Yeah.
Cause I work with a lady. She's like that. She's like a neat freak, and she come to work, and if her husband do something or whatever, it just throws her off. She be all upset. She be just all like God, because she want everything in a certain place. Everything has to just be like this perfect. And then it's hard to you trying to live with somebody like that. I mean, it could be good, and it's a downside to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it almost like driving you crazy trying to live with a perfectionist.
Yeah. And they but they say, but if their expectation ideal for a partner are unrealistic, then no real person will be able to fulfill them in every way. Say they care about depth and intelligence. They insist on honest communication. That should be every personality type. For them, a relation, but it's more important for them than any other race. So if you got a person who really banks on that, and they got those other traits, but that particular one kind of stands out, they really want you to be honest with them. But they say a relationship that isn't founded on these values is hardly worth pursuing. You can't get them. You're not, it might not come to. It might come as a surprise that the social niceties and obscure etiquettes of dating can seem useless or even insulting to that personality type. Ain't that something? So if he pulls out the chair, they feel insulted. That the stuff that social niceties, greet people, they don't like that. Because they're all to themselves basically. So they really don't connect well with people. For many of these conventions, exist only for a reason to help the inherently unpredictable situation seem less daunting. But if they refuse to play along, they may find the dating world difficult, if not impossible. So it's hard for them to find, But they say as they mature and gain experience, many of them eventually come to understand the purpose of romantic rituals. Up to that point, however, they may decide that dating is too irrational and beneath them. Some people with this personality type might constantly try to demonstrate their intellectual superiority as a way of proving that they're above the silliness of dating. Obvious, this mindset is unlikely to help architects find and connect with a partner. Sometimes the best strategy is to focus on what they enjoy rather than struggle against the rules of dating. Ironically, people with this personality type are often most attractive when they aren't trying to be. Just doing what they do best, pursuing the interests that light them up, can help their confidence and intelligence shine. So they are they're interesting. That's why they're the rarest type. You don't hear too much about that type, and you don't see that much unless you work in like labs or places that manufacture all like these people that's making drugs and making and pharmaceutical companies or laboratories or these kind of high technological manufacturers, people like that. You don't see they don't walk around the street much. Ain't too many of them walking around, and if you run into them, you might not like them because they the most arrogant people you ever won't run into because of what they know. They're arrogant because of they have this knowledge, and the Bible says that knowledge puffs up, but love edifies. Right. So when you get that kind of knowledge in your head, or you just get to the point where you just know so much. And I've been in this thing, you'll hear them say that, they'll basically insult you by the fact that they'll let you know that I know more than you do. And so they will outright insult you because they'll just tell you, hey, you don't know what I know. I've been doing this for such and such years, and no one knows this field better than I do. And you can't tell them about what they do. They know, and they are experts in what they do, and they'll have a vast
psychiatrist.
Yeah, the vast knowledge in that. But you can't approach them. You have to be on their level, if not, and fall by these guidelines because they got certain guidelines that they go by. And it's hard for some people. They say they seek strong, meaningful relationships. They use their knowledge and logic to help ensure that their partner is satisfied. So they able to learn how, is what he's saying. Basically, they able to learn how. They have to learn how to be emotional because they're analytical. Basically, male and female. They're analytical. They have to basically learn how to be deal with the erratic, because they're used to order and they're used to structure. So emotions kind of puts them in a place where it's erratic. They don't understand that the erraticness of it. They just they're not into it. Some of that person now, they're not into this, how things are up and down in your emotions. Say that said, emotions may still feel like second language to these personalities. Rather than getting to the core of their relationship conflicts, they might treat them as puzzles to be solved, and approaches which is that is always, they try to fix things, try to fix this person. Say for example, you have one in person as a mate, and you going through something. They don't gonna try to understand it. They're gonna try to resolve it. They're gonna try to fix it. They're gonna try to sing. They're gonna get you books. They're gonna get you recommend, especially like say if you know, they're gonna recommend specialists for it. They're gonna pull up articles about it. They're gonna go through a plan. They're gonna say, well, we're gonna go through this plan and we're gonna set this thing up. That's how they do. I mean, they're gonna try to fix it. You damaged, they gonna fix you. Because that's what they do. They solve problems. And so since they solve problems, if you become a problem, they're going to try to solve you. You're a problem now. You're a puzzle. You're an enigma. So now they want to solve you.
Oh, good God.
And so you don't want to... And you know how some people feel, just in regular relationships, especially marriages, how the spouse, and we have a tendency to do that with each other. We try to fix, especially a man, he try to fix his mate.
Not even business personality type.
Yeah. They try to fix their person. They try to fix the person. And a lot of people don't want to be fixed. They just want some empathy. They just want to know that you understand. But since you don't, all you can do is just use it as an opportunity to use your talents to try to fix the problem. Say when a partner shares strong feelings, they might shut down, or they may be tempted to analyze the situation rather than simply listening off and support. See, like I say, they're gonna do what they do. For architects, becoming comfortable with their partner's emotion, their own, can take more than a little practice. So it can be done. It's a challenge to them because they don't understand emotion. Love is rarely easy, but it's a challenge that can help them grow. Through their relationships, they can focus on the present and getting in touch with their emotions and remain involved with other people and stay open to things that they are not used to. For a personality type so intent on self-development, these opportunities can make love even more satisfying. So, in a relationship, they can grow because they're gonna. That one thing about that personality type, if they ever, like I say, they ever get in a conflict, they'll study to find out how to resolve it in a proper way. They're the types that believe in steps, so they're gonna go. They're gonna try to find ways to resolve it in an analytical manner. But you can't share you can't share your emotional baggage with them. Like you've been, we run across stuff all the time. We on a relationship Reddit where we read a lot of relationships, and our personality types fall. The tell us to let you know what ours is. She's the defender, and I'm the console. And once we get into that part, we'll read it and tell you what they are. But just to give you a clue, like I say, that she defends her and her family, and she's the defender. She protects. But see, the thing about the defender is that not only do they protect people, the ones around them, they also protect themselves if anything happens. And so with me, the console, I'm more the person that's in between. I'm a sociable person, but I'm also like her too. So I'm kind a mixture of two different personality types. The console is more like that. So when I deal with her, I have to deal with her in her defender mode. But since I can't, because they're both like the balance, so they have to be balanced in the way that they deal with them. And we looked it up, and our personality types, since we fall under the same group, we can get along. Now me, with that, no, Let's see what we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at friendships, and then we're gonna go. But like I say, they say they're sharp-witted and darkly funny. Architects aren't everyone's cup of tea, and they're okay with that. For the most part, people with this personality type aren't obsessed with being popular. They don't spend their time and energy on just anyone, and they can be difficult to get to know. But that doesn't mean they are antisocial or friendless. In fact, few of them exhilarating. Few things are more exhilarating to this personality type than the spark they feel when they connect with someone who really gets them. So that's talking about friendship. So they say they tend to have strong opinions about what works, what doesn't, and what they are looking for and what they're not. This mindset gives them a clear picture of what they expect from their social lives and their friends, which can also lead them to reject anyone who doesn't seem to meet their expectation. From the outside, people with the personality type may seem dismissive, but they would say they're just being decisive. Say in friendships, they're looking for intellectual equals just as much as anything else. These personalities crave mental stimulation, and they can become bored by anyone who can't keep up with the workings of their mind. Architects need to share their expansive ideas. Make small talk is something they typically avoid. In their friendships, in other aspects of life, they prize independence. Social obligation feels stifling to people with this personality type. They don't feel beholden to their friends, and they don't want their friends to feel beholden to them. For them, an ideal friendship is low drama, based on mutual respect rather than obligation. Low drama. We want that. We don't need that personality types.
For real. Huh?
They say, of course, any friendship will have its dramatic moments. When sensitive or emotional situations arise, they may feel out of their depth. See, they don't understand emotions. See, the biggest thing is what they're saying about this personality type is that when it comes down to emotional issues, they can't deal with them because their mindset and their personality is trained to solve a problem, to analyze it, to have a strategy, to have a plan and a goal, and that's all mental. See, they're strategists. They have a mind. They have this a mind thing with them. It's thoughts. It's mental. It's knowledge. It's constant growth. It's development. It's